What's going on, guys? It's Rogunman here, and welcome to the start of a new series. So this series is basically going to be focusing around talking about the 2022 Overwatch League teams, because as you know, the off season is pretty much over now. So most teams have their finalized rosters. Maybe they need to pick up a DPS, a support here, maybe a tank. But most of these teams have a majority of their players finalized. I believe only the Vancouver Titans and the LA Valiant haven't finalized the team. There are some rumors going around about the Vancouver Titans, but I don't really want to cover rumors on this channel because, as you know, they're not solid yet. Once they do sign them, obviously I will talk about them. But for now, we're going to talk about all of the teams that basically have the teams finalized. We're going to be starting off with my team, which, as you know, is the London Spitfire, and then as we go on, we'll talk about pretty much every team in the Overwatch League, and hopefully we can get Joe back on it, and maybe we can do a San Francisco Shock video, which is the plan for the future. Obviously, I do want to talk about the Shock because they've got a completely new team, but for now, we are going to be covering the London Spitfire. So, I had previously did a video about London dropping their entire team, and where I think they could go from here, or when there, and as you know, they have picked up Christopher as the new head coach, and he has since tried to, in a sense, along with Noki, craft their ideal team. So coming back from the 2021 season, we have Sparker and Shax, who, as you know, they covered the Tracer and the hit scan roles. Um, Although a lot of people are expecting Sparker and Shax to play together, and I wouldn't be too shocked if Sparker kind of picked up more flex DPS characters, but they have signed a third DPS who very much covers that flex DPS role in the fact that he mostly plays projectile and tracer. But being Backbone, now this guy has been scouted as one of the best EU talents that Contenders has seen. He's recently come off of playing for Altoyora. I pronounced that wrong. He's played for EX Oblivion, Share Cold. He's played for a bunch of different contenders teams. And done decently well. I mean, they're usually top 5 or 6 each contenders tournament, which isn't bad. And yeah, I think that this could be a decent signing. So, um, I'm sure they've got him on a basic contract. And I'm pretty sure that he's only really gonna play in situations where the double flex DPS is needed. Like I said, I fully expect Sparker to pick up some more flex DPS, but if they need somebody to play the Echo or the Genji, Pharah, Hanzo, or even if they need somebody on Tracer so that they can have Sparker or Shax on the hit scan role in Overwatch 2, then this guy can do that, and he can do that in buckets. Um, we don't know how good this guy's gonna be. He is a rookie. He is just coming from contenders. He's had no prior experience at this level, which, as you know, didn't go too well last season. But this guy has been given the like passing of the torch or the thumbs up from so many different players, so many different people within the scene. Hopefully he can have a good season and he can be almost like a Sparker of last season and really bring this DPS line together. I mean, the DPS line is the one role that I'd argue doesn't really need to be brought together in a sense, but it's still nice to have another flex DPS so that we can have the main 2 stars of the team being Sparker and Shax on their preferred heroes. Now, moving over to the tank role, we actually had a re-signing, so it wasn't Molf they re-signed. They actually ended up re-signing Hadi, which is interesting to me. Obviously, Hadi, as you know, wasn't the best main tank last season. I have been on record so many times of putting his play down or saying that he hasn't really done very well, and he didn't, but there are so many factors for the Spitfire last season that you have to take into account that maybe some things could change going into Overwatch 2. Obviously, if we go back onto LAN, then the whole shadow thing and the whole pins and playing Reinhardt in general becomes a lot easier on LAN Having to time it on like 120 ping is a lot harder, and that is basically what London and Paris were playing on all last year. And don't get me wrong, I'm not using that as an excuse to say, well, maybe he could be a god at the game, because I don't think he is. But I think that in this guy's hero pool and in this guy's mechanics, he does have the mechanics there to be a respectable main tank. We've seen it on his Reinhardt play. I mean, heck, he was counter shattering super last season. He was doing so many different unique plays on Reinhardt. He has good Reinhardt mechanics. He has good Winston mechanics. His primal timing, his primal usage is all really respectable. So I really think that this guy, if Nuki thinks he needs a second chance, and if he's really smoked their trials as much as they say he has, I'm willing to give him a second chance. But as it was said on Flat Chat, I don't really want to give him that much of the benefit of the doubt. Maybe 2, 3 weeks of season 5. If he's still performing at the same level, then maybe it's time to look for another main tank. I mean, how going on to their other signing, I think that you could to potentially put him in most of the time, depending on how flex or sorry off tank the Overwatch 2 meta is. But I think for now, Hardy is a decent main tank, and it's basically par for the course for a team like the London Spitfire, who have splashed out in some areas of the team and obviously some other areas of the team. Main tank being a role that we don't know what it's going to look like, so if they trust in Hardy, then I can trust in them, and that's basically what I have to say on that. Moving over, we have a new signing, actually a quite exciting signing. So, as you know, Christopher came from the Philadelphia Fusion. He was their former coach, and now we have a former Philadelphia Fusion player who didn't get to play pretty much all of last season because of visa issues, but we actually have Poco coming over from the Philadelphia Fusion to play for the London Spitfire. Now, I 100% believe that this was because Christopher had signed for London, that he brought Poco along with him. He could perhaps persuade Poco to come over. And we also heard stories from Poco himself that the Paris 5v5 trials weren't necessarily as much as he'd liked and weren't really what he wanted, and that he also had offers from places like The Charge, which he obviously declined. So this, if he didn't like Paris, seemed like the natural fit for Poco. So as you know, he is known for his diva. He plays Sigma, Zarya, Roadhog. He can basically play every off type that you want him to play, and he can do it at a high level. I think that this guy is going to be the strong shot holding voice that this team needed last season, and I'm excited to see what he brings to the table for this team. Um, Obviously, we haven't seen how he's going to fit into the team. The season's not started, but I think that there is a lot to be said about how much this guy can bring to the team and how much like experience and game knowledge he can bring to these rookies coming into the team. And obviously, he's going to be the main tanks, or sorry, not main tank, but he's going to be the only tank playing when he is playing. So he doesn't have to worry about Hardy, what Hardy's doing, or Hardy doesn't have to worry about Poco, what Poco's doing. They can both just play the game, have support from both of the supports, and basically do their best. And that's what you can really ask for. So I'm excited to see where this signing goes. This is probably my most hyped signing of the Spitfires off season. We're gonna have to see how it goes for him. Hopefully, it goes well. And if they ever bring shirts, I'm probably gonna get a Poco shirt. If not, Sharks is Worker, and that's pretty much decided for me. So, moving over to the last signing for now. This one, I'm going to have to preface that this one was very controversial, and I am not going to be the one that is going to go into the controversy. This guy is a very good prospect, or not prospect. He has been a very good player for a long time, but it's a lot to say that maybe they should have. I mean, Noki believes that he deserves a second chance, so there's always that. Maybe he's changed as a person. That's what a lot of people are trying to say. But obviously, without further ado, we have provided signing for the London Spitfire. So this guy was in NA contenders for the last year. He just recently come off of a eighth, seventh to eighth place finish with the Saints, losing to Wisp in NA Contenders Season 3 October, which was the last season of Contenders this year. Um, I think that talking about this guy's skill as a player, I think that he can bring a lot to the team as a player, and that outside of that, we're gonna have to see how he composes himself as a person. Obviously, he's been known for so many different things, which I don't really want to get to because I don't really get into politics that much on this channel. But yes, he does have quite a bit of controversy behind him. But hopefully, he can bring a lot to the team as a player, and I'm excited to see what we can do with him as a player because he can play. He dabbles between well, basically he's all flex support and then he can play Mercy. So we're still gonna need like the Lucio player, the Brig player, that sort of thing, and that's where I think my suggestion for a signing is gonna come in, which I think is the only promotion from the Hurricane that really makes sense. But we'll get into that in a second. Obviously, the rest of the support heroes that provide can play being Zenyatta, Moira, Ana, and Baptiste. I believe he's known for his BAP and his Ana and partially his Zen, but I think having that solid flex support in the backline, something that Reaper really lacked, could be big for this team, for London. And I am excited in that sense of what he could bring to the team, but obviously also worry about what could happen and what could go wrong with signing him as a player. So, enough of that, enough of negativity around that player. We're going to go and talk about a player who I think they should sign. That being one of the most exciting prospects from the British Hurricane, that being Admiral. So Admiral is an Estonian player who plays at the moment for British Hurricane. He is 20, so he's eligible for the league, and he's a main support, so he plays Lucio, Brig, and Mercy. I think that this guy would be a solid promotion, a solid main support that could bring so much to the team. His Lucio play, from what I've seen of the Hurricane, is some of the best Lucio play I've seen in Tier 2 for a while, and specifically EU because I don't watch any of the other ones. Um, I think his Brig is pretty respectable, and his Mercy, I haven't really seen him play Mercy, but having two Mercy players can never hurt. If in case you want to have provide on Mercy, you can do double main support. Um, but it seems double flex support is more the play that's going, so there could potentially be another flex support signed at some point in the off season. They could promote Skyripper from Hurricane as well. I wouldn't be upset if they promoted um Admiral and Skyripper. I mean, we have a lot of slots in this team that we can fill out if we really wanted to. As for another DPS talent, I wouldn't mind another a flex DPS that's had some experience. I mean, EQO comes to mind, having worked with Christopher. Obviously being European as well. So EQL and Admiral, EQL, Admiral, and Skyripper are the three players I think the Spitfire should go out and sign or promote, and the other two's case. I think this would be a really solid team that could compete. I'm not gonna say compete in the top half, but I think definitely do better than 1-15. I think a solid could get a solid 5 or 6 wins. Maybe get 14th or 15th place. Maybe pushing towards the top 10. Um, but obviously we don't know how well these players are going to perform. We don't know the strength of the league going into Overwatch 2. Obviously, because we don't know how any of these players are going to perform going into Overwatch 2 with how different the meta is going to be, what the meta is going to be on the balance patch that they're going to be playing on. So there are a lot of variables going into Season 5 that we just don't know yet, and all I can really do is talk about what I know from these players and what I hope they could achieve. And all I ask for the Spitfire going into Season 5 is that we get more than one win and that there's a better team morale. I mean, all we have to do is replicate what happened at Paris in the sense that they created a good team environment. that felt like a family setting, and they did well. They went 8-8. I mean, they just got into play-ins. They got put to play-ins for two tournaments, I believe. So that is pretty respectable for a team that was mostly rookies and players of experience that they could pick up at the end of the off season. And I think capping this off, another big signing that we could try and get, if he hasn't already been offered anything, which I don't think he has, is Get Amazed. If we could get Amazed to really help with that player morale, nurture a good environment for these players, I think that the team could do a lot better. And I also obviously think playing in front of fans is another thing that could really help. Going to LAN events and not playing on 120 ping, there's, like I said, a lot of variables that could change how the Spitfire perform. I just hope that going into season 5 is going to be more level playing field and not the NA teams basically having the better ping all of the time. But there's nothing we can do about that now. No point in dwelling on it. I really do hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button and let me know what team you want me to cover next. Obviously, most teams have already signed most of their players, so just let me know and I can cover that at some point in the future. So yeah, as I said, hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.